What's going on, everybody? This is dkdynamite, and tonight we're going to be talking about even more exciting updates for Season 2, some fantastic news for DMZ, plus even more. Definitely stay tuned. But before we jump into that, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below, drop a like, and let me know down below in the comment section, do you guys enjoy the PvP action over in Building 21? It obviously plays a lot different than Al Mazrah DMZ, and I do think this mode, or this map I should say, as well as mini royale trios from Warzone 2 are the best ways to prepare for how crazy and tight the gameplay is about to be over in Resurgence when that also ends up coming out at some point in Season 2. I think I look for more fast-paced action in DMZ in terms of PvP, which I just can't find in Al Mazrah, but I'm sure we'll find a lot more often in the upcoming smaller map that will also be playable in DMZ, as we're going to get to. But as of last night, after the patch notes released for update 1.13, Infinity Ward released some more information about what wasn't included in those patch notes, as they went ahead and said they fixed an issue where the playlist title for Tier 1 shipment displayed incorrectly, also fixed an issue where some players were kicked back to the main menu when pressing the View Party button, and they also temporarily disabled the ability to mark targets using the spotter scope while they investigate another issue. But I'll have my previous video linked down below in this video's description. We talk all about the major improvements that are already released for multiplayer, Warzone, DMZ, other aspects of the game. It was what I consider the pre-patch for Season 2, kind of getting the game in a better state to prepare for the upcoming preload for Season 2, which is going to end up coming out at some point in the next 2-ish weeks. But if there's any other issue that hasn't been resolved yet in COD 2.0, let me know what that issue might be down below over in the comment section. Now also be sure to check out dammods.com for the safest Modern Warfare 2 services, such as assistance with Orion Camo or even bot lobbies. This works on all platforms, PlayStation, Xbox, and even PC, and is trusted by thousands of customers. Trustpilot even has some excellent reviews for Dammods as well, which you can check out with the link down below in this video's description. Now earlier today, Infinity Ward ended up putting out more marketing for Season 2, which I'm a huge fan of, right? Thank God they're communicating in such a stronger way than they have throughout all of Modern Warfare 2's life cycle. If they keep this momentum with how they're communicating, it's going to be a great rest of the year for Modern Warfare 2's life cycle. But as they went ahead and said, DMZ will get new missions, an exclusion zone, and more updates with Season 2. Stay tuned. So with that, the first thing I'll say is thank God we're getting a blog post in the next couple of days. I'm not going to save it for a couple days before launch of Season 2, which is February 15th. They're dropping that in the next few days, which means there'll be a lot to break down in terms of what's coming to every single game mode. It'll take us some time to digest how big that blog is about to be, so luckily we'll have plenty of time to really digest that and then break everything down in separate videos for you guys. But with that being said, I don't know why it is they have a bit of an issue with saying the DMZ is getting a brand new map. They had this mistake with Building 21 where the map just wasn't marketed nearly enough. It was kind of a dead of the night situation where it wasn't marketed correctly and then dropped in a very weird way as well. If you remember, it was confirmed that the map was going to come out with the launch of Season 1 Reloaded, but then there was a private phone call between Infinity Ward and members of the press that privately confirmed that no, the map was going to be released at a later date, which was also strange to see, right? They kind of gatekept the marketing for the map, gatekept how you can play the map by requiring key cards, and then also gatekeep what days you can play the map, where you have to play it on, I think it's what, Thursday to Sunday, and then it's gone from Monday through Wednesday or whatever. However that schedule works, it's been a bit strange to see how they've handled this map, because I absolutely adore Building 21. PvP action is a lot of fun, and there's a lot to do in the map as well that's different from Al Mazrah DMZ. But if you guys are like, wait, what does exclusion zone mean here in the Infinity War tweet, that actually is referring to a new map. So once again, I'm not sure why they have an issue just saying, hey, DMZ is getting a brand new map that's just not Al Mazrah. It's not a new location or an area, it's a new map entirely separate from Al Mazrah. Not sure why they can't just say that, but obviously this is referring to the fact that the Resurgence map coming out for Warzone 2 will be playable with not just Resurgence but also Ground War and DMZ. It was a bit unclear as of recently with the leak for that map if DMZ was going to have support for that map on day 1 of Season 2, but it looks like that's going to be the case. If anything, I would say, you know what, I don't mind them dropping Resurgence for Warzone 2, even that same map for Ground War, and of course other quality life improvements for DMZ on day 1, February 15th, then save the DMZ support for that map for Season 2 Reloaded in late March. I wouldn't have minded that, but I guess since the content is finished, might as well put it out now. Hopefully that means there's still some healthy content left for the mid-season update in March. But with that being said, the more content the better. Season 1's been dragged on for quite some time. Everybody out there is ready for some brand new maps across every single game mode. Now when you look at the confirmation that we're going to be getting a difficulty update for the AI in DMZ, that's also a massive win for everybody, regardless if you play in a full squad, regardless if you just queue in solo with full squad off. This is huge. I mean, look, if you compare DMZ and Tarkov, I've already said it countless times before, regardless of which you like the most, DMZ has an advantage just because it's free to play, available on consoles, and is a bit more casual friendly than Tarkov ever was. But with the way the AI is in DMZ, it can almost make it just as frustrating, if not more than Escape from Tarkov. So them toning it down a bit, I think really works out. If it is indeed correct, they're not going to add in a solo or duo option. I would have said, hey, if you want to keep the AI the same way in trios, go for it, but at least add in a solo or duo option with toned down AI. But I think it's a win regardless if they just tone down the AI across the board, regardless of how many players you queue in with. And this is going to be fun. I mean, they've already messed with the AI quite a bit in Invasion and Ground War and even the Battle Royale. Might as well also tone them down a little bit for DMZ so it's not too frustrating for those out there that are new to the mode and for those that are just new to extraction shooters altogether. Now, what it also seems like is that the AI was meant to be really intense for Building 21, but once Building 21 came out, it almost seemed like the AI also got toned up a bit in Al Mazrah, which should not have been the case. I believe that was actually patched out in a recent title update, which they already confirmed, but still, there was still work to be done to really make sure the AI is fair. The AI is still pretty rough in Building 21 as well, so let's see which maps end up getting some AI updates with the launch of Season 2. But with the confirmation, we're also getting new missions added in this season. The big question is, new missions for what exactly? The existing factions we already have? Are they adding in an extra tier for each of the 3 factions? It would be cool if with every season we end up getting, we get one new tier added in. Right now we're at tier 5. Does that mean we get tier 6 in Season 2, tier 7 in Season 3? How is that going to work? Or could there be some exclusive missions added in that are just for Building 21 and not even for Al Mazrah? Obviously, there are a few select challenges you can do in Building 21 already that can kind of be done across both Al Mazrah and Building 21, but there aren't any exclusive missions just for this brand new map, so that would also improve some replayability for the map itself. If you guys already went for all the weapon cases, if you already opened all the secret rooms, if you already killed Velikan, there will be more to offer for this map if they go ahead and add those missions in. But there's also the possibility we get a brand new faction entirely that's not White Lotus or Black Mouse or Legion. What if we end up getting a Shadow Company faction, right? This is a great idea that was brought up brilliantly on the recent episode of the Bombshell podcast. Fajardi brought up this proposal that could mean we get more storyline for Shadow Company. We get kind of better progression with that group by adding in a faction for them, so that maybe if we get a return of Philip Graves at some point, or we see Shepard come out in a post-launch cinematic cutscene, it's kind of tied into the fact that Shadow Company had more operations going on in both Al Mazrah and Building 21, more than we've already seen. That would be pretty creative from a storyline standpoint, and I'm still curious what the future of this story may hold, since as of right now, the post-launch story has only been furthered through the raid cinematic cutscenes and of course DMZ. We haven't seen much progression through multiplayer or Warzone 2 just yet, so I'm curious where Shadow Company's role is in all of that in some future seasons. Now, something else I want to bring up, which might not be added during Season 2, but could drop as a surprise, I would totally welcome this, is a Reconnect feature. Can't tell you how many times I've seen myself or friends deal with a problem where maybe you're on a 10 exfil streak, you got all your perks, you have a nice sexy loadout, you got your armor satchel, you got good weapons, your equipment, gas mask, and something goes wrong, right? Your internet goes out, or your game actually crashes, or servers disconnect, things that are out of your control most of the time, and for that to be the reason why you lose everything is absolutely ridiculous. Tarkov already has a good Reconnect feature to ensure that you're not exploiting the system to kind of back out of a bad game. No, it's a feature that ensures you have a bigger insurance policy when things go wrong that are kind of out of your control, and that you can reconnect safely and get your things back. That would be such a huge feature that COD Mobile, to my understanding, already has. So for DMZ to get this would be massive, and hopefully we end up seeing this sooner than later. But obviously, as it's confirmed, DMZ is still in beta, so I think along with the other things that got confirmed in that recent tweet about that private phone call that happened between Infinity Ward and the press, they're working on dynamic weather. They're working on maybe solos or duos for the future, but as of right now, trios is the only entry point that they're working on. I do think we'll be seeing even a bigger economy, a marketplace, so to speak, to increase replayability, so that there's more to do in DMZ than just, extract XP and gather items from game to game. I think things like this will be added in over the course of the next couple of seasons. But last and definitely not least, as a bit of a follow-up to some information we talked about in a previous video regarding all upcoming Warzone 2 changes, the Battle Royale specifically, we did talk about the fact that loot containers will now pop floating loot onto the floor upon killing an enemy. That's a great feature, but for those out there that are like, wait, what about having the ability to actually loot medium or large size backpacks from enemies as well? Well, we have this tweet from the Ghost of Hope that kind of talks about this a bit. He says a happy accident that will likely come of this change is that medium and large backpacks off dead players will be lootable. Dev said the reason it wasn't possible was because it was a coding issue, and if you looted a dead player, backpack all the loot would vomit. So with that in mind, I think it's a interesting happy accident where them adding in the pop-out loot will probably ensure that the issue that we had before with not being able to grab backpacks will be resolved straight away simultaneously. But I also wonder, right, will this also be something that we see in DMZ? Obviously, DMZ is attached to Warzone 2.0. I've said it before, right? They don't have to make DMZ and Warzone 2 the same experience, right? They already have Al Mazrah being reused. At least change the setting of Al Mazrah and DMZ to sunset or somewhere close to nighttime. Do something like that to kind of differentiate the two. But in terms of gameplay, mechanics, looting, you could have two different experiences there. You can have it to where DMZ has a completely different rule set and just a different way that you loot altogether that you don't have to have in Battle Royale. And even the Ghost of Hope put out a tweet saying that it blows his mind that during development of DMZ, it's crazy that the devs didn't think of making sure that these modes stayed separate to make sure DMZ has more of an identity. It's weird how what it seems like is they just slapped the Battle Royale on top of DMZ and called it a day, and now what they're working on as of Season 2 is kind of toning Warzone 2 down to make it more like where we left off with Vanguard's life cycle and Warzone Pacific, which most people out there want to see anyway. If the player base is drastically decreasing, it's probably not DMZ's fault. It's just the fact that Warzone 2 doesn't have to be the same as DMZ in terms of the mechanics, gameplay, movement, on all the systems. You don't have to have them be the same, so to separate those two a bit is probably going to be a task behind the scenes over the next season or two. But that is about it. This has been dkdynamite. Leave our thoughts down below in the comment section. What are your thoughts on the exciting updates coming to Season 2 for DMZ? How are you feeling about them toning down the AI? How do you feel about a brand new map being playable? It looks like day 1 of February 15th. How are you feeling about the new missions and the possibility of a new faction? Really hope you've enjoyed, and peace out, everybody.